Hi, I'm Len Witt, and I'm here with Penelope Abernathy, and I'll let Penelope talk a little bit about who she is and what she does. We're at the Yale conference that has to do with the new news ecology and who will pay for the messenger. So, Penelope, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Hi there, I'm Penelope Muse Abernathy, also known as Penny. I'm the Knight Chair in Digital Media Economics and Journalism at UNC at Chapel Hill. I am a longtime media hound. I spent the first half as a journalist, switched over to the business side after I got an MBA, and have spent the last 20 or so years on the business side, working at institutions ranging from the New York Times to Harvard to the Wall Street Journal to small, and working with papers ranging in size from the small weekly and my hometown of 7,000 all the way up to the Wall Street Journal and New York Times.
Was that Phil Myers' chair that you've hired?
Yeah, I absolutely have Phil Myers' chair. I have there's a wonderful tradition set up by one person that went on for quite some time.
I'll say.
The author of The Vanishing Newspaper.
Correct. And we actually put a conference on with him not too long ago called the Wake Up Call.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Phil those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me, you've had a couple papers here that I saw. Well, what were the papers about, and what's your topic?
Well, I am one of those bilingual people. I can understand what journalists are saying when they worry about the very important function they've fulfilled in the 20th century, especially the latter half of the 20th century, through a whole range of bringing to light not only the issues that the public needed to be concerned about, whether it's health issues, healthcare issues right now, or whether it's a watchdog function such as the Watergate era. So I hear what the journalists are saying as they worry about the crumbling business foundation for what sustained that journalism, at least in the last half of the 20th century. But I'm also trained by the business side and have spent a good deal of time working with online methods of distribution for the last 20 years, beginning with nytimes.com. I was the SVP of planning, senior strategic planning, and actually set the site up and was responsible for it for the 2 years before it actually became an entity, when it was still a skunk works sort of thing. So I'm very familiar with what the economics are in this new and changing environment, but also as a business person have trained a lot in what the strategies are, other industries, and how they've dealt with this very disruptive form of technology that's hit everything from technology to the financial services industry. And so my concern is putting the two languages together and coming up with, during this time of transition, trying to understand what the trends are that are emerging and what the potential is on the other side of this storm, as some might call it, to what will be left behind after the storm departs and the waters recede. What
will be on the other side?
I think it will be. I think a lot of people looked at the internet as starting the golden age of communication, and I think we do have the potential to enter into that. I think it will be a very different business model from what sustained journalism in the last half of the 20th century. In reality, that was a kind of an oddity in many ways. It was based on being, for the most part, for newspapers, a de facto monopoly, de facto geographic monopoly. The internet destroyed that monopoly, and I think what will happen is the ones that adjust to this new landscape will thrive in it. There are a number of things traditional news organizations need to do. The first is that they really have to come up with a timeline for shedding the legacy costs. The legacy costs are primarily the printing and distribution that date back for 2 centuries, as quickly as they can. And in part because that's the most burdensome part of the cost structure for them. Everyone likes to talk about how quality news is very expensive, but it pales in comparison to what the cost to sustain a 2-century-old legacy system of printing and distribution are. And there's another reason for doing that. People's habits are changing very, very, very quickly. All number of surveys have come out to show that the Gen Xers or the millennials, those under 25, have already organized their life around this new technology, and I think certainly those who are older are reorganizing their lives around it. So in addition to helping the balance sheet, if traditional news organizations shed those legacy costs. It also helps position them for the 21st century. And then I've talked a lot about where the new revenue is going to come from. It's traditionally come 85% from advertising, and I think we're looking at some combination of both subscriber and advertising continue to support it on the other side of the storm. There may be some market disruptions over the next 5 to 10 years, but it will sort itself out.
So you sound fairly confident that we will have high quality, ethically sound journalism that'll keep the public informed so that they're good actors in the public square?
I think that the good news is for the last 2 centuries, the U.S. has managed to put together an incredible system. And I traveled a great deal the last 20 years on the business side for both the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Harvard. And I was continually amazed at how vibrant and how the U.S. journalism was. That's based in part on that it has a system for supporting itself that's been very different. It's based in part on the wonderful legal decisions that were made in the 20th century that supported the First Amendment in a way no other country has really supported it. And so I think that, and what happened too is if you look at it, while many papers have done public service, it's also been a good business choice to put together credible information and attract a community built around that credible information. And I'm relatively confident somebody's going to figure that out again in the 21st century. I hope it's the ones that were the 20th century standard bearers make the transition, and I think there's a good indication they probably will. I think the brands that were very dominant and well known in the 20th century should be able to transition into the 21st, but I'm also sure if others will too.
Okay, so you sound to be an optimist, is that correct?
I've been accused of seeing the glass 95% full.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, great.